Welcome back to Special Friends Podcast. My name is Mary Santora.
And I'm Sara Huntington.
And we are Special Friends.
Still don't have a theme song.
That's right. We still don't have a theme song, do we?
Yeah, it hasn't been long enough. I needed some more time to record, so.
You said that. You said you needed time to copy someone else's music.
Yes. I need a little bit more time to do a cover of Dixie Chicks in my own rendition.
Yeah, obviously. That's what a cover is, your own rendition.
Exactly.
Sarah and I both were on the road last week, and we were talking about, I was in Ann Arbor, and she was in Atlanta, right? Atlanta. And so we were talking about it, and while now our road stories are pretty tame, we thought it might be fun to tell a couple of our favorite stories from the road. So I think...
Favorite is a stretch of the story I'm going to tell, but
like an experience with like
an
touring.
Experience you'll never forget.
Well, experiences with touring comics, because let's be honest, comedians are psychos.
Right.
Like most of them are crazy people or drunks or addicts or partiers. There's always going to be some, oh my God, I can't believe this happened story.
Yeah.
And you don't get those all the time.
Yeah.
I had a pretty decent weekend in Ann Arbor. I feel like yours was probably pretty good in Atlanta.
Yeah. Comedy festivals are pretty, I mean, you can make them as crazy as you want. And I haven't had a crazy road story in a long time because it's either been me headlining and I choose who wants to come with me. And then before that, I was just with Hannah Berner, and it was like the most chill.
Yeah.
Like we literally would go to the show and we'd go get room service. That was the height of the craziness.
And she like,
when I would order like an extra meal at room service.
And she like treated you right too. So it's like, there's nothing to complain about. My pay is good. We're in nice ass hotels. That's how it was with Dan Cummins. Yeah. It was like, oh yeah, every show was sold out and the crowds were amazing. And I stayed at a 5-star hotel.
Yeah. I stole the towels. Like,
yeah, right.
I just had to go to hotels, put on a nice robe, and steal all their towels for the past year. So
we can't afford 5-star hotels, but the people we tour with can. Did you ever, like, there was one time I was staying in, like, probably one of the nicest hotels I've ever stayed in, and I was so mad that the shampoo and conditioner were attached to the wall that I was like, I can't, because you want to steal them when they're, like, really nice, like, high level, not Marc Jacobs. Who's the hair guy?
Dry Bar at one of the ones I was at, and it's the best smelling shampoo and conditioner. It's my favorite. I use their dry shampoo. And it was attached to the wall.
So annoying. Like, that's the poor person in us that's like, I just want to take it.
Yeah, when did they start doing that? I actually, that night on stage, I asked them, because I was like, is anybody staying at this hotel? And a few of them wooed, and I was like, was your shampoo and conditioner bolted to the wall? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, good. I was just making sure that they didn't see me come in with a Bud Light t-shirt on, and they were like, go ahead and, bolt hers to the wall.
That's hilarious if they did, though. So, you got a road story, or you want me to start?
You can start.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. The story I chose is not anything crazy. Of course it revolves around drinking, because that's who I was for a decade. So suck it up. My story is about the first time I met comedian Brian Regan, who, if you don't know who Brian Regan is, you got to look him up. Do you know Brian Regan?
Yes.
Very, very funny. Clean, but so funny you don't know that he's clean. It's not like annoying. It's not like, oh, this feels churchy or anything like that. He's just so... The word I like to use is irreverent. He's just so silly, and like his act outs are crazy, and his facial expressions. He was the first comedian I ever saw their special. He has one that he taped in Tampa, Florida called I Walked on the Moon.
Like you saw it live?
No, I saw a DVD. I was in 7th grade.
Oh, literally the first special you ever saw.
I was 12 years old in 7th grade, and my friend's like mom had it, and I had just downloaded Dane Cook's Harmful If Swallowed onto my iPod. And so I was talking about like stand-up comedy, and my friend's mom was like, oh, we have this comedian, and he's clean, so she didn't feel weird letting me listen to it.
Right.
And so I watched it, and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And I highly recommend that album or special, I Walked on the Moon. So I was playing a comedy club, loose term, back room of a sports bar.
Okay.
In Rochester, Michigan. Or no, I'm sorry, Rochester, Minnesota. Okay? So I'm in Rochester, Minnesota. It's me and Dave Waite, who's another very funny comic. He lives in LA now. We're doing the weekend there, and Dave gets a text message from Jackie Cation, who another very hilarious comic. And you look all these people up. They're great people, super, super funny. So Jackie texts Dave and is like, hey, Regan and I are doing a theater nearby. And Brian Regan loves comedy so much that he's known to come to like clubs afterward. If he's doing a theater nearby, he'll want to pop by the club and see who's playing or just hang out and drink, whatever.
Yeah.
So Jackie's like, we're going to come through. So we were like, hell yeah, this is so exciting. And I was like freaking out at this point.
Because this is the first album you ever
He's like
listened
my
to.
hero.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
This is what really shaped you as a comedian.
It did. I was like, I was really expressive and really energetic when I first started because I love Dane Cook and Brian Regan so much. And Brian Regan's not as energetic, but he's very silly and he uses his body and his face a lot. So when Dave told me that, I was like, you've got to be kidding. Like, there's no way that my hero is going to come here, right? Our late show ended up getting canceled, so we were just sitting at the bar drinking. And when I saw Brian Regan walk in, I immediately got tears in my eyes because
your show got canceled?
No, because I was so starstruck. That's the kind of person
your bar show in Minnesota got canceled?
Because my bar show in Minnesota got canceled and I wasn't going to make $75 that night. No, but I was like, oh my God, like that's the guy. Yeah. Like I was speechless. I immediately got tears in my eyes and I didn't really know.
Had you ever seen him live?
No.
Okay.
This is my first time ever seeing him or actually no, I did see him live years before that. Probably like 2013. I saw him. In a theater
or a club?
In a theater in Toledo.
So like you were probably way back in the...
We were like halfway back. Yeah. But it was like I dressed up because I'm like, oh, a theater show. Yeah, it was years before that though. So this was my first time like getting to meet and potentially hang out with an idol of mine.
Yeah.
So I got tears in my eyes. I started crying immediately and I was like, get it together, don't embarrass yourself. But then that only made me like more anxious and freak out. But he was sweet as can be. And I was like, I'm just a huge fan. Like, it's so nice to meet you. I'm featuring here. We took a picture together. He was so sweet. And so we're all hanging out and we're all drinking. And then he was like, I mean, it's getting later. This is a sports bar with a comedy club in the back. So they were getting ready to close. And he's like, well, let's go to the next location. Okay. Let's go keep drinking.
Yeah.
He's a partier. He loves to drink. He likes just being around comics and talking comedy and stuff like that. So I was like, absolutely, let's go to the next location, you know? So we get on his tour bus, and this is the first time I've ever...
on his tour bus?
Yes, it's the first time I've ever been on a tour bus, right?
That's cool.
So, and they have like a strict no cell phone policy, no pictures, no recording, nothing like that.
I love that you had to get on a tour bus to go to the next location, as if you're not in Minnesota where there was probably just another bar.
No, this was like in a parking lot. It was literally
like a strip mall.
It was, well, not even. From what I remember, we were staying in a hotel in the same parking lot, like a Comfort Inn or something. And then it was like a standalone restaurant in a parking lot.
Okay.
Like an Applebee's. Okay. Like a knockoff Applebee's with a comedy club in the back. And so we get on his tour bus, and the bartenders there like recommended another bar. They're like, go to this place, cheap drinks. We'll meet you there when we get off work, kind of a thing. So we get on the tour bus and we're just kind of hanging out on the tour bus for a while, and we're doing shots and everybody's having fun and we're having a great time. Yeah. But before they got there, I had already had a couple glasses of wine and maybe a shot or two. We probably did a shot or two before we left. So I was pretty drunk by the time we got onto the bus. Yeah. I do not remember much after the bus. What I do remember is falling off of it. I was so drunk by the time we got to the second bar.
Roofied you. I'm kidding.
What'd you say?
I said your hero roofied you.
No, he did not. He absolutely did not. Mayor roofied herself with too much Patron is what I did. Because I'm trying to go shot for shot. I want to like hang out and be cool. And I want to be like, oh, I can
keep up with the guys.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly me. And I remember I was so drunk and I missed the last step. And so I went from like tour bus to fully splayed out on the asphalt.
On the top of this is the greatest night of your life on a tour bus with your hero.
Yes.
To face planting outside of the bus.
Just went down
Inside
hard.
the bus, everything's great. Outside of the bus, downhill.
Just terrible.
Okay.
So face planted. I'm good, everybody. Everything's fine. You know? I'm a
comedian. It's a joke.
We go into the bar and I don't remember pretty much any part of it. I vaguely have like little shots of, like of doing shots, like little specks of like reaching for a drink, but I don't remember any of it. I do have like a come to moment back on the bus, but the timeline's so fuzzy because I don't remember if this was before or after, like when we got back on the bus to go back to our hotel, of me sobbing my eyes out to Brian Regan, drunk. Just cry. You are the best comedian of all time.
Do you remember any of his reactions?
He was really kind. And he was just being, thank you so much. That's so sweet. But I was like, you don't
We
understand.
get you home somehow.
Yeah. I was like, you don't understand
It's
what
very
my
sweet
parents.
of you. Does anyone know? They didn't have Ubers back then.
No.
So it was like, does anyone have a cab number?
So I was like, you got me through my parents' divorce, and I've always looked up to you.
You were the person after a show.
Yes.
That goes up to a comedian, and like I know it's. This is one thing that is tough as a comedian is that you tell your whole life story to a group of people.
Right.
And obviously people are going to relate to some of the things you say, but then they're trying to talk to you as if we're best friends now. And I'm like, oh, wait, I don't know anything
That's exactly
about
what
you.
I was doing. And I was fangirling. You're the best comedian I've ever seen, which there's no way to make someone feel weird faster than to be to be groveling at their feet while crying, tequila drunk.
Yeah.
And so, again, I don't remember if that was on the way to the next bar or afterward. Timeline's fuzzy, but I do remember crying my eyes out and him being so kind and just be like, I get it. You got it. Thank you. You don't have to keep saying it, So...
She's just so nice of you. Does she have an off button?
Right. No, she doesn't. So then, Blackout City, right? Wake up the next morning. We're talking about nicest hotel room you've ever been in.
Yeah.
I wake up, I open my eyes, and I am in a 5-star hotel room. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, I've never seen this room before. I'm fully clothed. I'm by myself in my bed, so I know nothing hinky happened. And...
In your bed or a bed?
In a bed.
Okay.
A bed by myself, all my clothes on, in a literally to that point, the nicest hotel room I had ever been in my life.
Okay.
And I'm looking around, and
Was there a jacuzzi tub?
It was not a jacuzzi tub. Those are not nice.
I know.
That's like hillbilly nice. That's like a yeast infection waiting to happen, dude. That's not nice.
I do think jacuzzi tubs are so nice.
Ew, dude. I've never been in one and not gotten like a yeast infection or a UTI.
Not a jacuzzi tub in the middle of the hotel room, but when the bathroom has a separate jacuzzi tub from the shower, I do think that's nice.
Yeah. I've never experienced that.
Wow. You've never been in a real 5-star hotel room then.
So this one did not have a jacuzzi tub, but in the bed next to me were 2 people, and there was someone sleeping on the floor. And I was like, I don't know who these people are. I've never seen these people a day in my life. I don't recognize them. And I start to hustle around, shuffle around, and they wake up, and I recognize them as the bartenders and server from the comedy club. Okay. And I looked at them, and I was like, where the fuck are we? And they were like, Minneapolis. And
okay,
I was
how
like,
far away is Minneapolis?
2 hours.
Okay.
Minneapolis is 2 hours from Rochester.
So at some point you blacked out to the point that you don't remember traveling 2 hours?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was like, we can't be, because this is 3 p.m. I'm like, we can't be in Minneapolis. I have a show in 3 hours.
Oh.
This can't be happening. Okay. I don't have a car. How did I get here? I am 2 hours away from where I need to be.
What time did you wake up?
It was 3 p.m. It was late in the day.
And then you had a Saturday show.
Yes.
In
Rochester, 90 minutes-ish, 2 hours, somewhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours away. So I'm like, this can't be happening. I don't have a car. How are we going to get back? I can't afford to take a cab or an Uber or whatever it is. And so I'm starting to freak out. And they're like, killing the vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I texted Brian's tour manager. And I was like, what is happening? And he's like, oh, you guys came back on the tour bus. Not a big deal. Everyone's safe. Brian paid for everyone to get hotel rooms. So Brian was staying at that hotel and paid for, I don't know how many people, just bought everyone hotel rooms so that they were safe. And so, what a guy. Am I right? But just paid for everybody's hotel rooms. And then his tour manager was like, he also called you guys a car that's waiting downstairs. So whenever you're ready, there's a car, a stretch SUV. We get downstairs 45 minutes later, a stretch SUV is waiting.
What is a stretch SUV? Is that
like an Escalade? Like a black car service?
Okay.
So that is...
Called you a car is the richest thing. It's not even I called you a cab.
No, I called you a car.
I've ushered a car for you.
Like my car service.
Yeah.
My chauffeur.
Yeah.
So he called us a car. And so all of us are violently hungover, in that still drunk, so hungover phase. And we have to take the 2-hour trip in a luxury vehicle all the way back up. And we get like, I don't know, maybe a half hour into the ride, and one of the people convinced the driver to go through McDonald's.
Hell yeah.
So we took this nice ass stretch, whatever it was.
You needed it.
And we went through McDonald's, and we all got McDonald's, and we ate it in this car. And then I think I passed out, like I fell asleep in the car. And we get back, and I get back to like the shitty hotel, the Comfort Inn, or wherever we were staying. And Dave Waite was there, and he was like, what happened? Like, where'd you go?
He didn't go at all.
He came to the second bar, but he didn't get as messed up as I did. He goes, yeah, you got back on the tour bus, and they told you 100 times, we're going to Minneapolis. And you're like, I'm going to Minneapolis. Like, you just wanted to keep partying, so you just went back with them. So Dave was like there. I was so hungover. I was like, I had to get like Gatorade and medicine, and like I had like an hour and a half to recoup before I went on stage
ready,
and which is like not enough time to take a nap, not enough time to do anything.
Yeah.
So I just started drinking again. I just had like a Bloody Mary and tried to even myself
hair
out.
Of the dog.
Yeah, hair of the dog. Tried to even myself out, but that was
even
it.
Myself out.
He didn't ask for anything. He never followed back
did you
up.
Ever talk to Brian Regal since then?
Regan.
Yes.
Brian
Regal.
Regal.
Well,
It was Regal. It was Regal of him what he did. But for him to like when they say don't meet your heroes, I'm like, well, I met my hero. And not only did he pay for strangers to have the nicest hotel room ever, then call us a car to go 90 minutes or 2 hours back up to Rochester, Minnesota. I made an absolute ass of myself because I got too drunk and fell off of the tour bus and cried at him for however long before I probably passed out. I don't know. But yeah, that is one of my like favorite, craziest stories on the road was meeting him being the kindest person on earth and me being a total idiot about it.
Wait, did I miss this? So you've never talked to him again?
No, I did.
Okay.
So he came and played Cleveland. He came and played Hilarities a couple years later after I had gotten sober. And I reached out to his tour manager. I said, hey, if you guys are coming back through, if it's okay, I'd like to open and just do like 5, maybe even just a guest set, whatever. He's like, yeah, sure. We already have the lineup set, but you can come do a 5-minute guest set.
Yeah.
So when I got there, I apologized. And when I saw him, I did start to tear up again because I hadn't seen him since. And I knew what an ass I made of myself that I was like, now I'm starstruck.
Like, this girl cries so much.
Who cries? Me?
You.
I do. I cry a lot.
But that's probably what he thought. He was like, every time I see her, she's fucking crying.
Right. So this time, though, I wanted to apologize because I was like, hey, just so you know, I'm not going to do that tonight. Like, I'm not a crazy person anymore. Like, I got sober. Everything's better. We're doing better, you know? And so,
he's like, that was the greatest night of my life.
Right. Well, he played it off like, yeah, no big deal. It was totally cool. Everything's fine. Like, he's so nice. He wasn't playing like, yeah, you were disgusting and way out of line. You know
I can't
what I mean?
stand when someone brings up something that I did drunk. In front of a group of people. When they're like, oh, remember what you did last night? Remember when you fell and you face planted and you asked that random guy if he wanted to...
What? Ask the random guy what?
This is
all hypothetical.
Yeah, we set our YouTube for kids, so
can't say
it. But
no, but he didn't do any of that. When
somebody's bringing up stuff you did that's embarrassing, I'm like, shut up. I wasn't there.
Yeah. He didn't do any of that. He was like, yeah, don't worry about it. Everybody parties. Like, totally blew it off like it was no big deal. And was like, yeah, come back on the tour bus. We're all hanging out tonight. And we went back on the tour bus. Obviously, way more chill.
Yeah.
I had gotten sober from alcohol.
Do you think it was chill the last time, too?
Probably.
You were just drunk and being like, whoa!
Do you know what is terrible?
We're going to Minneapolis. And the rest of them were all like,
no, get off the tour bus.
Yeah, we're going to sleep.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, and that's the worst part is that getting on it and seeing that it was pretty chill was like, it was me. Like, you know, I knew I was a problem, but when you're hammered, everyone's hammered. Everyone's just as drunk as I am. Yeah. Everyone's having just as much fun. And then seeing everybody just kind of like hanging out and casually drinking and smoking a little, like the other people were smoking weed. You know, some people were smoking, some people were drinking. And to see that vibe and be like, I fully fucked this up last time.
Everybody parties.
Made
it's like, just you really, but...
Yeah. Yeah, he was really kind about it, and I met his girlfriend, who actually I still follow on Instagram to this day, and she doesn't. I feel like she didn't really
They're
drink
still together
either.
now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we chat, and she'll, keep up with me. Hey, just checking in. And so her and I talked most of that night, and she was super, super sweet. But yeah, that is one of my like favorite road stories.
That's.
It's embarrassing. It's terrible. It's the reason I quit.
It's your favorite one, but
It's
I mean,
one of
it
them.
shows growth.
Yes.
It shows a 5-star hotel, which I love any story that involves a nice hotel. Those are my favorite things in the world.
Well, and you know what it did too? It made me want to be like him even more.
Yeah.
Because I was like, when I get to a level where I can afford to put up comics in a 5-star hotel, or be like, hey, I just want to make sure everybody's safe.
Right.
Let me call you a car for 2
Right.
hours.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the kind of person I want to be, where he's not too big or too cool to go hang out at a club
Right.
with, to him, open micers. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I had been doing comedy 6 or 7 years at that point, like nothing crazy.
Yeah.
And he's selling out theaters. So it just, honestly, it made me respect him so much more. How cool he was, and how accommodating, how sweet, and how he's like, yeah, no big deal. Everything's awesome. I'm like, this guy, he's an angel. He's an angel.
Aw.
I'm an asshole. He's an angel.
Wow.
But yeah.
They're not all bad. They're not all
No.
crazy.
No.
I feel bad for the story I picked based off of what you picked, because mine is the complete opposite vibe. I guess when you said tell a road story, you didn't mention that it had to be your favorite one.
It didn't have to be your favorite
I was like,
one.
I'm going to pick the one that affected me the most ever in my life.
Well, that road story is a big reason of why I got sober, because that
Yeah.
was like 2017 or 2018 when I was heavy in my drinking phase, and I got sober like a year later.
Yeah.
So it's making an ass of myself in front of my friggin' heroes. That's a big part of it. So yeah, it's not all great. I was an idiot.
Okay, so I didn't actually leave to do this one, but I had just gotten back from Chicago. Also, keep in mind, I had just gotten back from headlining in Chicago. And I'm not going to mention the name because,
Not gonna paint him in a great light.
yeah.
Mine's like, everybody's so cool and so
Yeah,
kind. Go
everyone's
follow
so
them.
nice,
They're the
and
best.
I'm about to like trash this comic, but a Kill Tony guy. Also, I will say that a lot of the Kill Tony people do really enjoy my comedy, and that worries me sometimes, because I think I talk about, growing up white trash, growing up with like hillbilly families, and sometimes I don't think people realize that I'm kind of like making fun of that.
Yes.
They're just like, yeah, my parents also had a above ground pool that was
Yeah.
always green. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but that's not a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're making fun of that. And they're like, whatever, let's drink.
My sister put her husband in the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he reaches out to me. He said, hey, do you want to open up for me in Indianapolis?
Theater show?
Yes, a theater show. He said a theater show. I was like, sure. Like, that's where
This is
I
on
live.
Instagram?
Yeah.
Just DM'd you on Instagram.
DM me on Instagram. Hey, he'd seen me on a podcast. He said, I saw you on this podcast. Saw you lived in Indianapolis. Want to see if you want to come open up for me. I'm like, sure. I live in Indianapolis. I'll come open up for you. Now, this is my fault because I don't ask for a lot of details. I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
I'm
like,
notorious for not asking enough follow-up questions.
Yes.
Where I'm like, oh, I trust you.
and I live in Indianapolis. It's not like I have to pay for a hotel or travel or anything like that. So I was like, yeah, sure. I'll come open up for you. So night of gets there. He texts me. He said, hey, we're getting dinner at this restaurant about a mile away from the club. And it's very interesting to me because it was a very, very nice restaurant.
Okay.
And if you think about this man, I just would have never matched him. And
To that restaurant.
Yes.
To that cuisine.
yes, I'm talking like 5-star chef. Everything is in small plates.
Yeah.
Oysters.
Yeah.
Like I just
No potato skins.
and he
no
gave off
wings.
such Applebee's vibes that I was like,
Well, easy, because we're Applebee's people.
well, no, I work cut from the same cloth. What
Okay.
is it? Same.
Yeah, cut from the same
Yeah,
cloth.
cut from the same cloth. So I was like, okay, yeah, like I'll meet you there. I was like, I also have a friend with me. She's a comic as well. Do you mind if she comes? He's like, no, not at all. Come through. So I get there. Also, I was like, I'm not gonna go just to dinner with the headliner. We've
Yeah.
never met before.
Yeah.
Guy-girl relationship. Like sometimes
Sure.
it's like I'm not quite 100% comfortable, even though I don't think everyone's in love with me.
Okay, first of all, you don't have to say it like that. That was an off-air conversation from our private roommate.
I didn't mention you. I was just saying.
You pointed at me.
No, I didn't
yes,
say that.
You
No,
did.
no.
You fully said, I don't think everyone's in love with me.
And I pointed at the air.
You didn't point at the, play the tape back.
I think everyone kind of hates me.
Anyway, but no,
so-
that can be weird, especially if you don't know the guy. Because if you do show up alone, it is still male, female. It is still like
At this nice restaurant.
I don't
too.
want you to read into this in any sort of way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I show up, and there's two of them there. And I think, I guess he brought a friend as well. Double date.
Double date.
So we sit down, and he's like, oh, thank you so much for opening up. He's like, this is my feature. And in that very moment, I'm already like, oh, so what am I?
Because he just asked you to open.
Yes.
He didn't say feature for me.
And I will say at this moment, I was doing a theater tour with Hannah, where I was opening up for her, but it was just her and I.
It was a 2-man show, and you're probably doing 25 minutes.
I was doing 30 up top, and then she was doing her hour. So
that's what you're thinking.
That's what my brain has.
He says theater, he says open. You think opening theater money. You think half hour. Okay.
Yes.
But you didn't ask.
So and I didn't ask. That was my fault. I will say that I did not ask. And so that's what I think is about to happen. Well, he shows up. He goes, this is my feature. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm hosting.
Sure.
Whatever. You know what? Again,
I'm at home.
I'm at home. I'm not paying for anything in this situation. And so the girl that I was with, we had already ate. Yeah. So he was like, oh, order something though. So we order a drink, and he says, no, you guys have to get food. You have to get food. Look at this place. Like it's very important that you try the oysters here.
So he's like pushing it. Like,
yeah, try something.
Get whatever you want. You gotta.
Yeah, seriously. Get whatever you want on the menu. So we're like, okay. So I order an appetizer, and we split a meal. And I'm like, okay, I guess. Like if this guy's like gonna get us this stuff, like I'll take it in a to-go box or whatever. Yeah. So we eat the meal. He tells my friend that her purse is not good leather. He like literally took her purse. It was like a leather purse. And he's like, yeah, the stitching on this is not good. This is a bad leather purse. And he's like, I used to stitch leather purses for a living.
What?
And we're like, what? Like, who are you? What do you mean you used to stitch leather purses for a living?
What kind of a job is that though? A leatherman?
A seamstress?
A seamstress for purses?
Leather?
I've never heard of that job.
And so he's kind of dogging us.
Yeah.
He's dogging us. And I'm like,
oh, what a shit purse.
I'm like, you're in a cowboy hat.
Right.
You have on snakeskin boots. What are you what?
But they're real snakeskin.
Yeah.
And the stitching is on point.
Trash my purse right now. So then Bill comes around. He goes, okay, I'll take the oysters and my drinks. I'll grab his drinks as well. And then the rest of it, just split it up, however they want to.
So he pushed you to order something and then was like, also pay for it?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So then I'm thinking, okay, this place is like pretty expensive. I probably wouldn't have gotten anything.
Yeah.
Not that I'm like
completely
struggling with money at that point. I just like, I had already ate.
But he invited you,
and then said,
made you order
want.
something, and then order whatever you want, and then it's like, but also you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So then I look at my friend. She had actually just told me how she lost her job that day.
Oh, no.
So I'm looking at her, and she's looking at me like,
what are we going to do?
I'm like, all right.
Do you remember how much it was? Like $100 or something?
Oh, I remember exactly. I remember exactly how much it was. It's very important to the story.
Okay.
So I look at her, I said, just put hours on one. I'll get it. So we get our bill. It's $100. I tip $20, $120.
Sure.
Whatever. Then he goes, can you drive us? I'm like, yeah, I can drive you.
What if you had Ubered there?
Well, I told him that I had a car.
Okay.
And that's why he was like, oh, why don't you just drive us? I'm like, okay. So I drove us all to the theater.
Why do you keep saying that?
He makes me stop and get oh my God, it's like a shittier beer than Coors Light, or it might be Coors Light.
Natty? Bush?
Natty Light.
Yeah.
No, Bush Light. Bush
Bush,
Light.
okay.
He made me stop and get Bush Lights for him.
My alcoholic uncle drinks Bush Light.
Yes.
Or maybe regular Bush, which it might be worse, honestly.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So
go ahead.
we stop, we get that for him. And then we get to the theater. It is like, I guess it's a theater. It is a theater, but it was set up with like just the fold out chairs across like an assembly line. All the lights were on.
How many did it seat, would you say?
I would say like 100.
Oh, so this is like a little theater, like a tiny little.
Yeah, this is just like a little. I don't even know what they normally do there. Probably like bands or something. Like small bands would normally.
So it's like a venue.
It's a venue for sure.
Okay.
Not a theater.
Not when you think theater, you think like stadium seat, like it kind of goes up and there maybe is a balcony. Even small theaters.
Whenever I think of the theater, they all kind of look the same. They look like Victorian.
Yeah. Old,
No.
pretty, kind of big, fluffy chairs that smell like church.
Yeah. This was not a theater. This was a venue with a stage and fold-out chairs.
About 100 fold-out chairs.
I'm like, at this point, whatever. So then he tells my friend she can do a guest spot. I'm like, okay, well, that kind of makes up for it.
Yeah,
At least, like,
that's
you know,
nice.
I'm giving my friend something out of this. So he is just chugging these Bush Lights. Like, just
He bought a
down
case?
the hatch. Yeah.
Like, okay.
And then also, he asked for a bucket as soon as we got there with
To
ice.
put on ice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he was trying to force all of us to drink Bush Lights. And I'm like, well, I don't drink.
No thanks. I had a $19 cocktail.
Yeah, no,
earlier.
thank you. I already. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, how did you go from a martini to Bush Lights? Like, this is the real you. So then the show is about to start. And he goes, all right, Sarah, you ready? I'm like, are we going to play music? Are you going to do God Mike?
Yeah.
He goes, what? I was like, you know, like normally at a theater show, you can do a God mic. That way you can go over and be like, hey guys, it's blah, blah, blah. And we're having, I'll see you guys later, but here's your host for the night, you know, or something. Or play
Introduce me.
Music.
Have
anything.
someone say something so it's not just quiet.
Anything. I was wearing boots, heeled boots. He goes, nah, just go out there.
Oh God.
So it is silent. Completely silent. You can hear my boots clicking.
Click, 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 click.
It's literally, it sounds like a gymnasium.
And no one knows who you are.
And a teacher is about to scold everyone in the crowd. It's probably 60 people there, I would say.
It's senior prank day, and you're all getting lectured in the gym.
All of them were not excited to see me.
Why would they be? They have no idea who you are.
No idea. And all of them had their arms crossed and just stared at me. And then I get out there finally
Real
to
quick.
the mic.
Mostly men, I'm assuming? Or kind of a
actually
mix?
pretty good mix.
Okay.
Yeah, a pretty good mix of men and women. And I finally get to the mic. It felt like at least 45 minutes. I felt like I had already done my set by the time I got to the mic. And I'm like,
How long did he tell you could do?
10 minutes.
Okay. So you get to the mic.
So I get to the mic. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do material that I know that they're going to like. But they don't even realize for the first 5 minutes that I'm a comedian.
Did you say anything? Hey guys, welcome to the show.
I said, hey guys,
my name's
I'm
Sarah.
going to be your host for the evening. You're going to see a lot of me. And maybe a lot of them hadn't been to a comedy show. Maybe they just saw like him on something and were like, they'd never been to an actual comedy show before.
Yeah.
So they didn't even realize like host is a comedian. And I should have said like, host means I'm also a comedian. But I just said like, I'm going to be your host for the evening. A little bit about me. And for the first 5 minutes, it is just like,
Just staring
I'm like, and you can still hear my boots clicking.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, stand still.
Yeah.
Stand
Yeah,
still.
this is so much worse.
But like when you stand still and you're in a theater, it's very awkward because it's like,
it's such a big stage.
it's such a big space. So then I'm in a theater. It is a big stage though. So then I just, you know, when you're just powering through something.
I just gotta do this.
Yeah. I'm just like, let me just get
Do my
to 10
time,
minutes.
make my money, get the hell out of here.
So I get to the 10 minutes. I
Out of
bring
10,
everybody
how would
up.
you rate it?
Oh, 3.
So it's not the worst bomb you've ever had. Did you get any laughs at any point?
Yes, I did end up getting them.
Yeah.
Finally, at the very end, but they were very confused for the first 5 minutes, and
Yeah.
the last 5 they loosened up and they were fine, but it wasn't anything fun. I've only had one bomb worse than that, and it was a very, very urban show. I was a year into comedy.
We'll do that next week.
Okay.
We'll do a worst bomb story because
Yeah.
I have two. One of mine was an urban show. My other one was opening for a TikTok person.
That was
my two worst, like quitting comedy bombs.
like sweat. I felt it go from the back of my head, and I don't sweat. It went from the back of my head, and it was going into my ass crack.
Yeah,
and
where you're just standing there and you're like, it would be easier to
I'm
kill
gonna end
myself.
it.
It would be easier for me to stab myself in the neck right
Yeah.
now than to finish this 5-minute set. Yeah, okay. We'll do little teaser. Next week we'll do our worst bomb stories.
Yeah.
But for now, go ahead and finish this one.
So then it's over. It's finally over.
He's killing, I'm assuming. He gets up and
yeah.
just, okay.
Yeah, they love him. He goes, Sarah, you're going to want to get out here. We're signing tits. After the show. And I thought, there's no way. And I thought, maybe they're just like, doing a little, no, tits are out.
Like fully?
Yes.
Nipples?
Yes.
Oh, you're signing areola.
He goes, get in here, sign this. And I'm like, do you want this? She's like, yeah, queen. I'm like, okay. So then I'm just signing tits. And at this point, I have partaken in the bush lights.
I was going to say, you have to. You got to be a little bit drunk.
I have to be a little bit. I'm signing meth heads tits.
Yes. Well, they got to be at least little. Not a lot of square footage there.
No, they were, there's various sizes.
Okay. All right.
So at this point, I'm drinking.
Yeah.
And
let's make the most of this.
yeah. So the girl that I'm with, I'm like, let's go. Like, let's get out of here. Mm-hmm. He stops me. He goes, I want to go to a dive bar. I'm like, well, we're actually going to a dive bar. I was like, that's literally where we're going. I was like, if you want to like meet us there, you can. He goes, all right, I'll see you there. I gave him the address. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, that's over.
Yeah.
So this is also right when I started dating this guy. I invited him and like 4 friends and my other friend. So we go to this dive bar that we really like. And we get there, we think it's all over. I'm telling them, oh my God, like this was the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. As I'm saying it, he fucking walks in. I'm like, oh.
Did you think he wasn't going to come? Of course he's going to come.
Well, then he walks in, he goes, this isn't a dive bar.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, okay, yes
then
it is.
leave.
Also,
Goodbye.
I know dive bars.
Yeah. Please.
And
First of all, Bush Light, let's relax.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
If it's not a dive bar, go drink on the street. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. So then I'm like playing ping pong with this guy that I just started dating. I'm talking more like a week in. So like not even dating. We just like are at the talking stage. He comes up. He goes, he looks at the guy I'm dating. He's like 6'5". He goes, play me. So he takes the ping pong paddle from me. He goes, we're up next. And this man is the greatest ping pong player I've ever seen in my entire life.
No, he isn't.
I swear to God, I've never seen somebody so good at ping pong.
He's a professional ping pong player. He used to stitch leather as a job.
And
stand up.
he is just pelting the guy that I'm dating with ping pong balls.
Yeah.
Till he just beats the shit out of him. Then he looks at me and goes, well, you're next. I'm like, okay.
This isn't fun. Who's this fun for?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not having a good time.
I don't want to play anymore.
Then for just 10 minutes, he just smacked me with a ping pong ball.
Damn.
So I just had to
Did
stand
he even
there.
he never let anybody have a chance, like a volley back and forth? Because sometimes when people are so good, my buddy Josh is one of the best pool players I've seen. But he knows he's better than me. So he'll let me play a little. He could easily get on there, break, and run the table. So this guy's not even letting you have a little taste of a volley.
No. No. It was just
sucks.
It felt personal.
It probably was.
It felt like somebody had hurt him in his past that looked a little bit like me.
Yeah.
And this was his opportunity to get back at them.
It might be.
I
That's
think
how he found you. He saw you.
Yeah. He's like,
And he's
it's
like,
my
take this,
ex-girlfriend."
Shelly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the only way he knows how to get back at her.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's whooping everybody's ass at ping pong.
Whooping
No one's
everybody's
having fun.
ass at ping pong. And then we stay there for like an hour.
Wait, follow-up question.
Yeah.
What's his vibe? Is he like having a blast and having
the
so much?
greatest time of
So
his
he
life.
doesn't realize no one else is enjoying this.
He doesn't realize everybody else is like, we're like gathering in corners. One of my friends started crying.
Oh.
Not the friend that opened up for him, but another friend. She just started crying. She's like, what's happening?
Yeah.
What is this guy?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so he's like a tornado.
Well, because he walked up to my friend and said, I'd suck the fart right out of your ass. And she's like, what? I didn't ask. She's not a comic. She's like,
She's a normal person
Yeah.
who thought she was going to have drinks with her friend.
yeah, and play a little fun ping pong with her date as well, that they had just started dating. And so he hears it, and he's like, what? Who the fuck is this guy?
Okay.
Why would he say that to you?
Do you know what's really funny? Is that I bet the people who were at the second bar in Rochester, Minnesota are telling this version of the story about me.
Yeah.
Where they're like,
yeah.
no one was having a good time.
Yeah.
Like, she thought everybody was having a good time. Over here, I'll suck a fart out your ass. You
Yeah.
don't know me. Dim a shot tequila.
Yes, you were him
I was
in
this
this
guy.
story. So then,
Okay. Well, you know what? Maybe he's not that bad.
you know what? I mean, I am exaggerating the story. Truly, I mean, who knows? Maybe he's sober now.
Anyway,
Maybe he's sober.
I doubt it.
And so
So
then
nobody's having fun. Your friend's
nobody's
crying.
having fun. We think we're gonna get away from him again. I said we're gonna go home. And he said, we'll come with you. We want to ride. I'm like,
To where? He wants to ride to his hotel, or he wants to come to your house?
he wants to come to my house. Oh, I did mention that we were gonna go back and play Guitar Hero. And my friend did say, you can't mention Guitar Hero to white trash people.
No, I'm so good at Guitar
They're
Hero.
going to come.
It's the only game I have over there.
It's my favorite game in the world.
We only have one
Truly
guitar.
is.
We got to get another guitar.
Yeah.
And we should battle. Can you play on expert?
No, I can
Oh.
only play on hard.
I can play
now.
on expert.
Well,
You're
you
not as
haven't
good
played
as
in a
me.
while. You don't know.
But, oh, please, like riding a bike. But that is, why do white trash people like Guitar
I don't
Hero
know.
so much?
I don't know.
I'm very good at Guitar Hero.
But I was like, we're going to go back and play Guitar Hero. He's like, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
So then.
Were you also like, because these people, you can't be like, that's not an invitation.
Right.
They just show up anyway.
Yeah, it was just kind of, you know, when it's just awkward, you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah. And at this point, I'll be honest, I did have quite a few drinks. At this
Yeah.
point, I was like, whatever.
You're kind of
dude.
along for the ride,
Yeah.
too. At that.
I'm
You're
like, if you
whatever.
want to come, I've reached as far as I can go.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. You could say anything you want. So we get back to my place. We're all drinking and stuff like that. And he is just murdering everybody at Guitar Hero, of
Why
course.
does this guy have so many skills?
Yelling at everyone. And just telling heinous stories. I'm like, we gotta knock him out.
Yeah.
We gotta get him drunk.
Roofie him.
Like, soon.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to go to bed. So my
This
friend,
is what roofies should be for. Not for taking
I'm
advantage
not
of people.
kidding.
It's for when people are too much and they need to go night-night.
we didn't roofie him, but my friend did have ketamine.
Sarah, I don't know if you should admit this.
No. She asked him. She said, do you want some ketamine?
And of course he's going to say
And
yes.
of course he's like, oh, that's my
I was
favorite
like,
thing."
brother,
No,
we got to
didn't.
stop recording right
no.
now.
We didn't drug him.
No. But he was like, it seems like the kind of guy that could have been any drug.
Yeah.
It could have been coke, it could have been Molly, it could have been mushrooms,
Yeah,
it could have been ketamine.
yeah.
It wouldn't have mattered what insert drug here.
Yeah.
He would have done
Yeah.
it.
So he was, of course, like, yeah, I want it. So he did it. Nobody else did. And then he just laid in my living room floor for like 2 hours
Yeah.
until it was like, well, I don't know what to do. So we just all went to bed.
Yeah.
Woke up the next morning. He's not there. And I'm like, hey, man, had a super fun time with you. Thank you so much. Here's my Venmo whenever you want to, send me the money. $100. So essentially, after dinner, I paid $20 to open up for him.
But not just open up for him. You paid $20 to have him berate you at a bar, make your friend cry, beat everyone in ping pong, do ketamine on your floor. You paid $20 to have that man invade your life for 12 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So mine is very different than yours.
Yeah. Well, we didn't know what stories each other were going to tell.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
a very vague, hey, how about we tell some road stories this
Yeah.
week? That's so funny. Maybe next week we do have a theme, which is worst bombs. But yeah, I think I have plenty of stories. Not
That's
actually,
what should have made me go sober. Right there. That should have been like, okay.
but you weren't the one acting up.
That's true.
That would be a night that maybe he should look back on
Yeah.
and be like, is this who I want to be right now?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Is
so
he
I think
have,
mine-
now you asked me, let me ask you, have you talked to him since?
A few times he, he's reached out, oh, looking good, or,
Oh my God.
Let me know when you're ever in town, that kind of stuff. But
you haven't seen
have
him in
not
person.
opened up for him and have not seen him in person since. No.
Damn. What would you do if he said, "Hey, come open up for me"?
I
You'd
wouldn't
say no,
open
right?
up for him again. No.
Okay.
I would be friendly because I'm just the nicest person in the world. I'm your hero. And I'm
No.
just so kind to everyone that
You don't even know what you're saying.
I would be
So actually,
Civil.
these are kind of good that we both told these stories, because I told a story of like setting a great example of what you want to be when you're a headliner, and you're telling a story of like, here's 50 ways how not to be a headliner.
Right.
Like, here's everything
in
you
his
don't.
defense, he had only been doing comedy the same amount of time as I had.
A couple years.
Like
this
4
point?
years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, I guess that's different too. A 4-year
Yeah.
headliner versus Brian Regan, who's a 35-year headliner.
Yeah.
But still, and I guess if you come into fame pretty quickly, maybe it is just a party.
It's like getting money too fast, where you're just like,
Well, it's
oh,
both.
yeah.
He is getting money too
yeah.
fast.
Anytime you get something too fast, well,
It's
according
just-
to him, he's losing money. He made a lot of money before.
Doing what? Stitching purses?
I don't know, man.
That's crazy.
Killing snakes.
Selling snakes.
He had like 7,000 jobs. I'm not kidding, and none of them were like normal.
Damn.
I don't want to say his actual job because then it
No,
would be very
don't,
obvious
don't.
of who it is. But yeah, a lot of just a jack of all trades.
Just this guy. Well, when you're like, he's so good at ping pong, he's so good at Guitar Hero.
He really was good at everything.
That's crazy.
And that kind of bothered me.
parlor
where I was
games,
like,
though.
God, you're so annoying, but like very good.
But he probably would have been good at like darts or
Yeah.
pool, because people like us grow up in bars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm good at pool because my older sister would take me to bars when I was 18.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. If you have a single parent, or, you grew up around that kind
Yeah.
of stuff, you're going to get good at darts.
Yeah.
That's just going to happen.
No,
you
I'm
know?
very good at bowling.
Yeah, me
And
too.
it's
Me
for
too.
that reason that my dad would take me to the bowling alley every Tuesday because he
Ours was
bowled
Sundays.
every Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Sunday was for the family. Tuesdays
Yeah.
was he had his bowling league, didn't know what to do with me, so I would just get my own lane in the corner.
Yeah. Go tire yourself out.
Yeah.
Here's some quarters if you get
Till
bored.
you can fall asleep. Yeah, some quarters. Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
to go into the
game
arcade.
room.
Yeah, the game room. We did that. Ours was Sundays. It was 10 to 1 p.m. All you could bowl. So as many games as you could bowl in 3 hours, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it included shoes, and it was like $10 a person, because that's what things cost in the 90s. And so all of us would go with my dad every single Sunday
Yeah.
from 10 to 1, and that's what we would do.
I know we have to get out of here, but did you ever do the bowling where you could win money knocking down certain pens?
No,
I think
they
it
didn't
was
have that.
illegal.
Yeah, that sounds
but-
illegal. That sounds like gambling.
Yeah, because like I would win sometimes as a kid.
Oh yeah, you can't win.
Yeah, but it was like I forget what it was called. It's called
I've
like
never played that.
jackpot bowling. That's what it's called, jackpot
Oh
bowling.
no, I've never done
And
that.
if you knocked over certain pins, or if you got like a strike, you could win $5, $1,
Oh
$10.
no.
And
That's
that's how
crazy.
gambling addiction starts.
See? Damn. Well, we hope we gave you a good indicator of what you should be like in your field and what you should not be like in your field. Be kind and giving. Don't do ketamine on people's floors. I feel like that's a pretty good life lesson, regardless of what your profession is.
Yeah.
You can
Also, regardless of what your profession is, don't invite someone to dinner. Tell them to get whatever they
Yeah.
want, and then not at least offer to pay.
or say, I don't even know how you bring that up, because I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't invite you if I didn't plan on paying.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I wouldn't have even invited someone.
Yeah. That's
So.
crazy. That's all right. Follow us on social media at Special Friends Podcast. I'm going to be at Alaska at the end of the first week of April. I'm going to be at Before You Die Comedy Festival. So if you're up in Alaska, I don't know what our listeners are like up there. You can come get tickets for that. MarySantora.com for shows. Mary Santora Comedy on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook.
And TikTok, Instagram, Facebook for me, Sarah Pop-Tarts. I don't know what date this is coming out, so I'm not even going to try and plug shows. But follow me on social media.
Okay, thanks. Love you. Bye.